What is up, ladies and gentlemen? But most of all, you ladies out there, thanks for clicking on another episode of Break the Silence. I am your host, Cyborg. Celtics, Nets, split cap! We just got done watching an incredible basketball game between the Boston Celtics and the Brooklyn Nets. A rematch of last year's first round of the playoffs, a series in which the Boston Celtics swept the Brooklyn Nets. But that Brooklyn Nets team that we're seeing this year is a lot different than it was last year. And that sweep was the closest sweep of all time, for whatever that's worth. Tonight, Kevin Durant was out, Jaylen Brown was out, and Al Horford was out. So some of the things we're talking about is going to be talking more about the depth of both of these teams, because I think that was what impressed me most tonight, especially about the Boston Celtics, their depth. But to an extent, you got to take this game with a grain of salt, missing those kind of guys. You don't get too accurate of a representation of the teams when you're missing a top 6 player in Kevin Durant and a top 20 player in Jaylen Brown. If I'm the Nets, I'm pretty encouraged tonight. I wouldn't leave this game feeling too discouraged, because I think you show some of the value of their depth. And I'm going to spend most of this video talking about the Boston Celtics, but I do want to briefly say that the Nets, I wouldn't feel too terrible. You put up a real fight, and to me it's kind of like, did you ever have the really attractive girl in high school that you shot your shot and you asked her out to the prom? She said yes, and you didn't end up marrying her, but you proved you got that confidence that you needed to prove that, hey, I got a chance when it comes to the real deal, and I find someone that I actually want to spend the rest of my life with. That gave you the confidence you needed to take the W later on. That's kind of what the Brooklyn Nets maybe felt tonight. They saw some success guarding Jayson Tatum. They saw some of their role players really step up. And ultimately, the Celtics have so much talent, and they're so deep, even without 2 of their starters, that they were still able to pull it out. Before we get into the game in detail, first, please take a second to like and subscribe to the channel. We are almost 800 subscribers, which is just wild. We're going to keep grinding, keep growing, so please hit that subscribe button. That would be greatly appreciated. So one of the Brooklyn Nets' biggest weaknesses is their rebounding, and I think that's something that if they really want to compete in the East, I think they're going to have to address a little bit. Tonight, Boston won 48-32 on the boards. But what was truly impressive for me for the Boston Celtics was that Jayson Tatum did not play very well. And you will credit Royce O'Neal, Ben Simmons a little bit for that defensively, but Jayson Tatum was 7 of 22 and only had 20 points. He had 13 games in a row with at least 25 points, so tonight was really a down night for him. And the Celtics have now beaten the Nets 9 times in a row, by the way, which is highly impressive to beat any NBA team that many times in a row. But when these two teams come to play, the Celtics play with purpose, they play with passion, and they play the game like it's a rivalry. They take it personal. I think they all like Kyrie, but they go out there and they play really, really hard against the Brooklyn Nets. But the real value of this Celtics team is in the development of Grant Williams, who is now not only just a three-point shooter. Last year, he was primarily just a spot-up three-point shooter. He's taking it to the basket a little more now, playing in the post. If you notice and you watch the Celtics, he's going to spend more time pump faking that three and then going to the basket, making something happen. If he adds that to his game, and you're already talking about a guy who shoots the three ball at a high level, this is a very, very good offensive player off the bench and a very valuable asset, and he's actually going to be a free agent this offseason. So it'll be interesting to see if the Celtics decide to just unload, the bank for Grant Williams, or what happens for the Boston Celtics there. And then Brogdon, their offseason pickup, had 16 points tonight, 7 of 13 from the field. Brogdon is awesome, and I can't believe the Celtics have him coming off their bench. I think that really could be the piece that could lead this team over the top. Now, health will play a big role in this Eastern Conference run. The Nets are a little beat up right now with Kevin Durant out. The Milwaukee Bucks have had Chris Middleton out for almost the entire season. Giannis was out tonight. Serge Ibaka's been out. They're missing guys everywhere. So The Cleveland Cavaliers are kind of up and down. They've had a lot of injuries they're dealing with. The Sixers, obviously, with Harden and Embiid, can they stay healthy in a playoff run? Halliburton's now out for the Pacers. The East, and then the Heat are dealing with a ton of injuries. The East has quality teams, but health might be the biggest factor when playoff time comes around. And you hope that the Celtics, being young, will be able to benefit from that. But they got production from Malcolm Brogdon. Luke Kornet came off the bench, gave you 11 points, 5 rebounds in 17 minutes on 5 of 5 from the field. Luke Kornet got thrown a lob pass and did a reverse dunk, and I didn't know Luke Kornet could do that, to be honest with you. I take one look at Luke Kornet and said that guy can't dunk backwards. That's kind of my impression. Highly impressive. I think he was a little shocked he did it as well. Marcus Smart gave you 16 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds. He really steps up when his number's called. I feel like the greatest development about Marcus Smart is that he's really knows his role. Before, in the past, sometimes he would have high volume shooting nights and feel like he missed a lot of threes and was kind of maybe forcing too much. Now he knows the two stars of the team, Tatum and Brown, and he knows that his job is to get those guys in position to succeed. And when one of those guys is out, he can step up to be that second, third scorer on the offense. And I think that's what we've seen with the development of Marcus Smart. Not only that, his perimeter defense is unbelievable. When you're talking about some of the best perimeter defenders we've seen in the NBA in the last 20 years, his name is certainly in the top 5. Kawhi, LeBron in his prime, Gary Payton was kind of, he might have been more 25 years ago, but some of these guys that are very high-level perimeter defenders, he's right there in that discussion. He's unbelievable to watch on a night-to-night basis. Derek White. In the offseason, Derek White said that he was reworking his three-point motion. And man, oh man, has that worked wonders. He was 4 of 7 from 3 tonight. On the season, he's shooting 36%, which is a very solid number. And he's averaging 10 points a game. So the Celtics are getting contributions from everywhere. Peyton Pritchard gave you 9 tonight. So you're getting contributions from so many guys on the court that even when Jaylen Brown and Al Horford are out, you're still able to play a 9-man lineup that is playing at a high level, playing a team like the Brooklyn Nets that has talent. Kevin Durant was out, yes, so we're not writing off the Brooklyn Nets. We're not saying the Celtics are way better than the Nets. None of that kind of talk. But the Brooklyn Nets still are a talented squad with TJ Warren, with Kyrie Irving, with Ben Simmons, with Nick Claxton playing way higher of a level. Watanabe shoots the freaking lights out of the basketball. Joe Harris played really good tonight. Royce O'Neal. So both of these teams have talent, and Boston is able to perform when their stars are out, and that's so much value when you're talking about playoff races because guys are going to miss games. That's the reality of not only the NBA, but the modern day NBA even more when guys are resting on back-to-backs. Al Horford, old guys like that sometimes need rest. And can you have a guy like Luke Kornet step in and play at a high level? The Boston Celtics have now won 5 games in a row. They kind of struggled in December. They did. They played a little lower of a level in December, but when it comes to January, they have started red hot again, and that brings their record up to 31-12. They have a 3-game lead on the 2 seed, which is the Brooklyn Nets right now. And they have 3 more wins right now than the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. So they're playing at a very, very high level. And I think that when you're looking at this team, I think they're a real threat to win the NBA title. But when you get to big pressurized situations in the playoffs again, that's when you're going to have to see the Boston Celtics again with Jayson Tatum. Will he be able to perform in the finals? Because last year we know he struggled a little bit. And in the playoffs, when teams are game planning for you and that throws you off, are you able to adapt? Are you able to change your game plan? All those things remain to be seen, but we love the early returns we've seen from the Boston Celtics. Touch briefly on the Brooklyn Nets because honestly, I'm shocked at how good this team is playing and how deep it feels like they are because a year ago, after they made the trade for James Harden, it felt like they were the most top-heavy team in the league. You had Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and then it was like you didn't really know what else the roster was. They had Joe Harris, I believe, was out that entire season. Claxton was still young and wasn't developing. At the time, they didn't have Seth Curry or Ben Simmons. So you kind of had a lot of guys playing that were like borderline playable in the NBA, but it was really relying on those three guys. Now they have real depth, which I think fares well for them if you're talking about the playoffs. If Kevin Durant were to go nuclear like he did against the Bucks 2 years ago in the playoffs, this team would have a chance at a title. Like, they have real depth to where if Kevin Durant plays at the level he's capable of as one of the best players on the planet, one of the top 5 players on the planet, they would have a real shot to win the title. This Watanabe guy blows me away. Dude shoots the freaking air out of the basketball. It's unbelievable. TJ Warren has been an absolute revelation. He gave you 20 again tonight. For the season, he's averaging 10, but it's really starting to tick up as he gets back into shape. He had 15 the other night in New Orleans, 18 the other night in San Antonio. So really like what I'm seeing from TJ Warren. He was a very quality basketball player, if you remember, before his injury. So if they can get that TJ Warren, the Brooklyn Nets are a real threat. And I think I'm just excited to watch both of these ball clubs the rest of the season because they're going to be juggernauts in the Eastern Conference. They may play in the playoffs. We'll see. Milwaukee's right there, and I think the Sixers are also going to be really good. But all those teams are right there. Will health be the determining factor, or will it be the superstars? Will it be Jayson Tatum versus Giannis Antetokounmpo versus Joel Embiid versus Kevin Durant versus Donovan Mitchell? That would be unbelievable to watch. To see all these teams healthy, we might have the best Eastern Conference playoff run we've had in a very, very long time, since maybe pre-LeBron days, as far as competitiveness. But that's all we got for you as far as this game tonight. We're going to keep watching both of these ball clubs. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we're about to hit 800 subscribers, and we're on the road to 1,000, and that'll be awesome to get there. Appreciate y'all watching. Cyborg out.